Have you ever, grabbed a carton of milk, maybe a bag of chips, or even a ready-made meal, and just sort of taken the container for granted? We often do, right? But today, in this deep dive, we're going behind the scenes. We want to explore the unsung hero of your pantry, food packaging. Our mission here is to take your sources and give you a real shortcut, a way to understand the core concepts, the really ingenious materials, the cutting-edge tech, and the vital safety standards that make sure your food gets to you safely and stays fresh.
It really is an unsung hero, isn't it?
Yeah.
Food packaging is, it's so much more than just a box or a wrapper. It's this dynamic field, constantly evolving, and it directly tackles huge global issues like food safety, maintaining quality, and of course, environmental sustainability. We're going to trace its journey, from ancient, humble beginnings, think leaves and skins, all the way to today's smart innovations, and then try to navigate the complex web of regulations governing it all.
Okay, let's unpack this then. How did we even get here? Because when you look at the evolution, it's quite a journey, really fascinating. From the incredibly simple, like you said, plant fibers, animal skins, then the Industrial Revolution brings us tin plate cans, then maybe mid-20th century, this huge pivot to plastics, polyethylene and the like, lighter, cheaper. And then, the 1970s barcodes come along and just completely change the game. Suddenly we have this digital supply chain. But if we strip it all back, what's the basic job, the core purpose of packaging? Your sources really boil it down to four main functions: containment, protection, preservation, and communication.
That's right. And each one is, critically important. First, containment. That's fundamental. It's about physically securing the product, making sure food stays safely inside the package. This is absolutely crucial for, efficient handling, transportation. It prevents those costly losses along the supply chain.
Right, stops things spilling or getting damaged just moving around.
Exactly. Then there's protection, shielding the food from microbial attacks, basically keeping bad bacteria out, and also physical damage like bumps and drops and environmental stuff like moisture. It's about keeping the food's quality and, critically, its safety.
Okay.
Next, preservation. This is all about extending that shelf life. It uses various technologies to slow down microbial growth, spoilage, things like that. And this function is absolutely vital for cutting down on food waste, which is a massive global problem, and hitting sustainability goals.
Makes sense. Less waste is always good.
Definitely. And finally, communication. This is the role of the label, printed or digital. It gives you, the consumer, detailed info. Think nutritional profiles, how to store it, safety alerts. This transparency lets you make informed choices, and importantly, it allows for quick product recalls if there's ever a safety issue. So yeah, together, these are really the backbone of food security and product integrity.
It's easy to overlook just how big this industry actually is. But here's a stat that kind of blew me away. Your sources point out that food packaging makes up about 40% of all packaging materials globally. And plastics are the dominant player there. And the market size, it's projected to shoot up to, USD 463.65 billion by 2027. That's astonishing. What does that sheer scale mean in the bigger picture?
It means it's a critical lever for global well-being, really. That massive scale connects directly to reducing food waste. And like we said, food waste is a huge global challenge. So by minimizing waste, packaging directly fights food insecurity and helps cut greenhouse gas emissions. What's fascinating, though, is that while packaging has these huge benefits, its real value, especially for sustainability, hinges heavily on the material choice.
Right.
How well we can recycle it, and whether we have robust circular economy frameworks in place. Honestly, the biggest hurdle is often getting the infrastructure right to truly close that loop. It's complex.
Absolutely. Okay, so we understand the why. The next logical step is, what are these packages actually made of? Because it's not just one simple layer, is it? Your sources describe it as this multi-level system. 3 tiers: primary, secondary, and tertiary.
Indeed. Yeah, think of it like those Russian nesting dolls. Each layer has a specific job on the food's journey from the producer to you. So primary packaging, that's the inner layer, the one touching the food. Its main jobs are containment and protecting from contaminants, but also preserving aroma and flavor. And this layer has to meet strict rules, like from the US FDA, making sure the material is inert, doesn't react with the food. It's also where you find all that key info, ingredients, allergens, how to use it.
The stuff you actually read on the package.
Exactly. Then you move out to secondary packaging. This is the intermediary layer. It groups together multiple primary packages. Its role: making handling easier, protecting products during storage, transport, streamlining logistics, basically. Think about a corrugated cardboard box holding, say, a dozen cereal boxes, or a plastic crate full of yogurt cups. It's that mechanical shield.
Gotcha. Like a multi-pack outer box.
Precisely. And finally, tertiary packaging. This is the outermost layer, often what you'd see stacked in a warehouse on a pallet. Its main focus is preservation during bulk transport and enabling efficient movement storage distribution. This layer allows for organized stacking, systematic management. It keeps transport cost-effective while maintaining product integrity all the way to the retailer.
So it's quite an intricate system.
Yep.
Now let's get into the actual materials. What are we building these layers from? What stands out to you about the range of stuff we use? Because it's definitely not just plastic, right?
Oh, not at all. It's a diverse palette,
Yeah.
each with its pros and cons. Plastics, yes, they're currently the most common. Super versatile, lightweight, cost-effective. They mostly come from petrochemicals, oil, natural gas. Common types are PE, PP, PET. You see those little symbols everywhere.
Yeah, the recycling codes.
Right. But plastics have, well, significant drawbacks. There's the risk of chemical migration, nasty additives potentially leaching into food, health concerns there,
Right.
plus pollution, microplastics using up fossil fuels, major environmental issues.
Okay, so plastics are dominant but problematic. What else?
Glass, one of the oldest materials, made from abundant stuff like silica sand. Known for transparency, it's chemically inert, doesn't mess with the food's taste or smell, and it's highly recyclable. Infinitely, really.
Sounds pretty good.
It is, but it has limits. It's brittle, fragile, breaks easily, and it's heavy, which means higher transport costs and potential losses.
Right, dropping a glass jar is never fun.
Exactly. And there's metal. Aluminum, tin plate. Offers excellent protection against moisture, light, gas. Very moldable, too, and can handle high temperatures, like in canning. Again, potential issues. Unwanted chemical interactions, corrosion maybe raising health concerns. And metal production can have a significant environmental footprint.
Okay, and what about paper?
Paper and cardboard. Valued because they're biodegradable, renewable, generally low cost, and easy to print on. But their limitations are pretty clear. Poor barriers against moisture and gas.
Yeah.
They're not very strong mechanically either, so they often need coatings or laminates to work for food.
So lots of traditional options, each with trade-offs, but the game is changing, isn't it? What's really remarkable now is this push for sustainability. It's leading to completely new materials, reshaping what's even possible.
Exactly. This is where the innovation really kicks in. It's quite exciting. We're seeing bio-based materials and bioplastics emerge as key alternatives. These come from renewable sources, plants, fungi, algae, not fossil fuels. And you kind of categorize them. Some are naturally derived polymers like cellulose or starch with minimal processing. Then there are biosynthesized polymers. This is wild things like PHAs, specifically PHB. They're literally grown by microorganisms through fermentation.
Grown, like brewed.
Pretty much. Though scaling that up affordably is still a challenge. And finally, you have bio-based drop-in alternatives. Bio-PE, bio-peat. Chemically similar to traditional plastics, but made from things like sugarcane instead of oil. These aren't always biodegradable, but they are often recyclable, fitting into a circular economy.
So what are the pros and cons there?
Well, the big pro is sustainability, lower emissions. But cons can include higher production costs. And sometimes they're not quite as strong or as good a barrier as the petroleum versions. It's evolving, though.
Okay, what else is new?
Edible films and coatings. These are fascinating. Packaging that's part of the food, you just eat it.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah, imagine fruit with a protective coating you don't even notice. They're usually made from polysaccharides, proteins, lipids, used for produce, meat, dairy sometimes. The crucial limitation, though, is potential leaching. Active agents in the film could migrate into the food, maybe subtly change the color or aroma, or, worst case, make it toxic. Needs careful control.
That sounds tricky.
It is. And finally, nanomaterials and nanocomposites. These are tiny, tiny particles revolutionizing things. They can be inorganic, like metal oxides, or organic, like nanocellulose.
Wow.
They offer amazing barrier properties, really good at keeping air and moisture out, plus antimicrobial activity and better strength. But again, the big worry is migration. These tiny particles getting into the food could alter it or potentially be toxic. So lots of research still needed there.
Right. So we've got new materials, but you also mentioned the how of packaging is changing. It's becoming more interactive, intelligent. This really does start to sound like science fiction.
It kind of does.
Oh, good.
Because we're moving beyond packaging that just sits there. Now it does things. It actively works. Take active packaging. This goes way beyond just being a barrier. It involves putting components right into the material. Little helpers, like oxygen scavengers that soak up air that spoils food, or antimicrobial bits that fight bacteria.
So the package itself is fighting spoilage.
Exactly. These components interact with the food or the air inside to extend shelf life and boost safety. Two main types: non-migratory systems, like absorbers that trap stuff, and active release systems that emit beneficial gases, for instance. But there are limitations. Sometimes these active components can slightly weaken the package's barrier properties. Or an oxygen scavenger might, paradoxically, help anaerobic microbes grow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, plus high production costs can limit how widely they're used.
Okay, so that's active. What about intelligent or smart packaging?
Right, intelligent packaging or IPK or smart packaging. Think of this like a tiny built-in health monitor for your food. It uses sensors and indicators to track the food's condition in real time and give you updates. Tools include things like time temperature indicators, little visual cues showing if it got too warm, pH indicators that change color if acidity changes. Various sensors can identify specific chemicals related to spoilage, and data carriers like RFID tags or barcodes for detailed tracking through the supply chain.
So it tells you if the food is still good, basically.
In essence, yes. And importantly, unlike active packaging, these intelligent systems usually don't directly touch the food. They just monitor from the outside or within the package headspace. Limitations here: often high manufacturing costs, sometimes consumers are wary, and there are technical challenges keeping the sensors reliable in the real world.
Fascinating stuff. And there was one more, MAP.
Yes, modified atmosphere packaging, or MAP. This involves changing the gas mix inside the package. You typically reduce oxygen and maybe increase nitrogen or carbon dioxide, depending on the food. The goal is to slow down spoilage, inhibit microbial growth, extend shelf life. A key benefit is that it often lets producers use fewer chemical preservatives. That leads to clean label products, which many consumers really want now.
Ah, right. Fewer weird ingredients on the list.
Exactly. But its effectiveness really depends on getting that gas mixture just right for the specific food and using packaging film with the right barrier properties.
It's incredible, really, how far packaging technology has come. It makes you wonder, though, with all these innovations and complexities, who's making sure it's all safe and sustainable? How is this stuff regulated? Who's keeping track for you, the consumer?
That's a crucial question. The regulatory landscape is, well, it's dynamic and complex. It's constantly trying to keep up. It's shaped by national laws, international standards, and these evolving sustainability frameworks. The core aim is always to ensure materials don't pose health hazards and that labels aren't misleading. The EU, for example, has pretty robust laws, the Packaging and Packaging Waste Directive, and a proposed new regulation, PPWR. These mandate clear labeling, demand scientific proof for claims like compostable, and really push for reusable options.
And other countries?
You see similar efforts, similar emphasis in national laws in places like India, South Korea, the US. It's a global concern. A really critical area getting intense scrutiny right now is chemical safety. Certain compounds are under the microscope. Things like phthalates, often in flexible plastics like cling film, bisphenol A or BPA, common in hard plastics, can linings, and PFAS, those forever chemicals used for non-stick or grease resistance. They're all facing stricter laws because of documented health risks, including links to cancer.
That sounds essential. But what's fascinating and maybe a bit worrying is that your sources suggest there's still a significant gap, even with all these rules. What's the challenge there?
That's a fantastic point. It's rarely just one thing, is it? There's often a lag, a gap between how quickly science can detect and analyze potentially harmful compounds and how quickly the foundational laws can actually be updated or new ones created. The biggest hurdle is often just the time it takes. Time for rigorous scientific studies, for market surveys, to collect enough real-world data, for labeling claims to be thoroughly checked. It really highlights this ongoing challenge for regulators, trying to keep pace with rapid innovation while ensuring the rules are strict, adaptable, and truly protect both public health and the environment.
So let's try and bring this all together. We've gone from, simple clay pots and animal skins
Humble beginnings.
to these incredibly complex, multi-layered structures, smart sensors. It's been a massive transformation, and it seems driven by this constant need for quality, safety, and more sustainability.
Absolutely. We've seen key advancements like these emerging bio-based polymers, some literally grown by microbes, and nanomaterials enhancing barriers, fighting microbes, and these advanced techniques, active, intelligent, modified atmosphere packaging. They're genuinely extending shelf life and improving food safety across the board. It's impressive stuff.
Yeah, it really is. Yet it's important we remember the challenges that are still there. We're still grappling with risks like chemicals migrating from the package into the food. There are cost barriers, scalability issues for some of the cool new tech, and as you said, this fragmented global regulatory picture that sometimes struggles to keep up.
Definitely ongoing issues.
Yeah.
So perhaps next time you pick up a packaged meal, you might pause for a second. Consider not just the food inside, but that whole invisible network. The science, the engineering, the regulations all working, sometimes imperfectly, but working, to get it to you safely and hopefully more sustainably. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What role do you, as a consumer, think you'll play in shaping the future of packaging? Will it be through your choices on the shelves, or maybe even by demanding more radical, perhaps even systemic innovations from the industry?